Greetings and welcome back to LA Quill. Today we're diving into something deceptively simple, often misunderstood, and absolutely foundational to every book you've ever loved. Whether you're an aspiring fantasy author building your first world from scratch, an intermediate writer refining your craft, or a devoted reader who loves peeking behind the curtain at how stories are truly made, this topic is the beating heart of the storytelling journey. And fittingly, it's also the title of today's video, The First Rule of Writing. Every month I get messages from people who want to write novels, real novels, sweeping fantasy sagas and sprawling magic and heroic quests and epic romances and multi-book legends. And they come to me with enormous excitement. They have ideas, they have characters, they have worlds expanding in their minds like universes igniting into being. They talk about the story that they've been dreaming of for years and the book they know they're meant to write, the one they believe will change their life. And I genuinely love that spark. It's beautiful. It's hopeful. It's the beginning of everything. But then comes the question they all ask. How do I take this concept and turn it into an actually publishable book? And the answer, the true answer, is far less glamorous than people imagine. Before world building, before magic systems, before character arcs, before plotting or outlining or revising or editing, even before learning grammar or structure or the rhythm of prose, there's one rule that every writer must follow. You must write. That's it. That's the first rule. And although it sounds incredibly simple, you'll be amazed at how many people never cross that threshold. You would be amazed at how many writers never sit down to write. Now, I don't say that to shame anyone. I say it because if you're watching this, you probably have a story that is begging to be born. You can feel it. Maybe it taps you on the shoulder at night, or maybe it whispers to you while you're doing dishes, or driving, or taking care of the kids, or walking the dog. Maybe you've created the entire plot in your head and can practically see the scenes playing like a movie. But the moment you sit down in front of the blank page, nothing. You hesitate. Or you're afraid. Or that quiet little voice says, not today. We'll start tomorrow. But here's the truth. Tomorrow never comes for half of the people who write a book, and I don't say half metaphorically. Over the years that I've taught, mentored, and talked with thousands of aspiring writers, I've realized that yes, truly half of the people who say they want to write a book never actually sit down and write anything. Not a scene, not a paragraph, not a single sentence, not a character's name. They never wrote it down. They imagine themselves as future writers, but never take the step that transforms them from dreamer to creator. So let's talk about why. Part of it is perfectionism. All been there. Many writers, especially fantasy writers, feel the pressure to make everything flawless right from the beginning. They want their first chapter to shine like polished crystals. We all do. They want that first sentence to sound like Tolkien or Martin or Sanderson on his best day. They want the magic system to be airtight and just so. The world building to be fully formed. The political landscape to be intricate and brilliant and perfect. They expect mastery from the very first keystroke. And that's simply not how writing works. It isn't. The first draft of any project, even a masterpiece, is messy and chaotic and wild. It's tangled like roots beneath a forest. It's rough like stone before shaping. It's the clay you throw into the wheel before you mold it into something pretty. It's supposed to be flawed because it's the raw material from which that polished story will eventually emerge. Some people don't write because they fear their mistakes. Others don't write because they fear failure. And others still don't write because deep down they fear success. Because success means things like commitment and change and vulnerability and accountability and real possibility. But regardless of the reason, the result is the same. They never get the story out of their head and onto the page. Let me tell you something that every published author knows. Not theoretically, but intimately. You cannot fix a blank page. Okay? There's nothing to fix. It's blank. You can revise a messy chapter. You can strengthen a weak scene. You can rebuild a plot. You can sharpen your dialogue. You can even restructure the pacing or rewrite entire arcs. You can improve anything, but only if it exists first. The only thing you can't work with is absolutely nothing. That is why the first rule is the most important. Sit down and write. Not someday. Not when your schedule clears. Not once you know everything about the craft. Not when the muse arrives with a cup full of inspiration. And not when the world aligns in perfect balance. Writing happens when you choose to show up, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, and even when you're not feeling brilliant. Because writing is not about waiting for the magic. It's about creating the conditions where that magic can bubble to the surface. This is especially true in fantasy. Fantasy demands imagination. Yes, it does. It does. But imagination without written form is just mist. Lovely, shapeless, impossible to hold. When you write, you give your words gravity. You give your ideas form. You give your characters breath. You take the intangible and sculpt it into something real, something that others can finally see. Imagine building a castle in your mind. It can be enormous, beautiful, golden, full of sweeping towers and intricate stonework. But until you drag each brick into place on the page, no one else can walk through it. No one else can look up at its spires or feel the story unfolding within its walls. Writing is what opens the gates. Now here's where we bring in the practical side. A lot of new writers, well, they worry that if they start writing without planning everything first, they're just going to end up wasting their time. They fear having to rewrite. They fear discovering plot holes. They fear realizing halfway through that the story needs to make a change. And guess what? Yep, all of that's going to happen. But it's not failure. It's part of the process. Every writer, even the greats, rewrite. Every writer discovers holes. Every writer reshapes characters as they learn who they truly are. Stories evolve as you tell them. They surprise you, they challenge you, they frustrate you, and sometimes they lead you in the directions that you never expected. That's not a flaw, that's storytelling. If you wait to start writing until you know everything perfectly, you will never start. Let your draft be imperfect. It's a first draft for a reason. Let it be clumsy, and let it be raw, and let it be human. What matters is that it exists. And once it exists, you can shape it into something extraordinary. So let's shift perspective for a moment and talk to the readers who are here. Yes, the ones who adore the worlds we built and the characters we breathe into life. One of the greatest gifts you can give your favorite authors is the understanding that the worlds you love don't arrive fully formed. Those breathtaking stories began as messy notes and broken scenes and awkward dialogue, confusing magic systems, and moments of pretty intense doubt. Every story you've ever fallen in love with started with a writer choosing to write even when the writing sucked. Behind every epic fantasy saga is a stack of rough drafts built on courage, persistence, and the willingness to create something imperfect first, so later it could become magnificent. There's a quiet bravery in writing, especially in fantasy writing, because you're not just telling a story, you're conjuring something out of nothing. You're weaving an entire universe. You're inventing histories that were never there and futures that will never be, except inside the pages you create. That's not small, and that's not easy. That's not something anyone can do without effort. But you can do it. And it all begins with that first rule. Just write. Even if your first paragraph is a disaster, even if your spelling is questionable, even if you're unsure about where the plot is going, even if your characters are still half-formed, even if half your world only exists in vague ideas, even if your confidence is wobbly, write anyway. Because writing is an act of faith in yourself. Faith that what you've created matters. Faith that your story deserves to exist. Faith that your voice is worthy of being heard. And let me leave you with something important. Your story will not exist unless you make it exist. No one else can tell it. No one else can breathe life into your characters or shape your world or express the truth. That story chose you, and now it's waiting for you to choose it back. Your story is not anyone else's. It's waiting to be put on the page. So when you finish this video, don't fall into the trap of saying someday. Don't sit on the idea for another year. Don't wait for confidence. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for perfection. Just start. Get over to that computer, get out your pen and paper, and start. Open a document, type a sentence, then another, then another. It doesn't matter what they look like, only that they exist. That is the moment you transform from someone who dreams of writing to someone who actually writes. And that is the moment your real journey can begin. And that's our tale from LA Quill today. What story are you finally going to start writing after this video? Until next time, may your stories always be magical.